So the Bundesliga season has finally come to an end, and for the 11th time in a row, Bayern Munich have won the league. But did Bayern really win the league, or did Dortmund lose it? Spoiler alert, it's the latter. So Dortmund bottled the Bundesliga. Again. And in today's video, I will be dissecting this enormous bottle from Borussia Dortmund. And I will also be ranting about it at the end, not because I'm a Dortmund fan, because I'm not, but simply because I'm so outraged at the fact that you can do this year upon year. Contrary to many beliefs, Dortmund didn't actually lead the Bundesliga for the majority of the season as shown in this picture. They actually took their first lead in round 25, and in round 26 they had a very good chance to extend their lead since they were facing Bayern Munich in a clash that could take them a massive 4 points clearing the table. But they ultimately fell short and lost 4-2 to Bayern, which meant that by match day 24, Bayern now had a 2-point lead in the table with 10 games to go. Now, Dortmund wouldn't really help themselves in round 28, where they faced Stuttgart and drew 3-3 away from home. Stuttgart, who at the time were a relegation playoff team, may I add. Luckily for Dortmund though, Bayern drew to Hoffenheim 1-1, so it was still only a 2-point gap in the table with now 6 games to go, which Dortmund would put to their advantage in round 29 by beating Frankfurt 4-0 and see them take the first place in the Bundesliga after Bayern lost 3-2 to Mainz. More on them later. But history repeats itself, as this first place would be very short-lived yet again, because in the very next round Dortmund went and drew Bochum, a relegation playoff team at the time, and Bayern went on to win their game, which would ultimately put them first in the league yet again. At this time there's still 4 games left to play with only 1 point separating the two teams. For the next 2 rounds, both teams would win their games, which leads us to the second to last match day, round 33. Here, Dortmund would do their job and convincingly beat Augsburg 3-0 away from home. The same can't be said for Bayern though, who would wind up losing 3-1 to Leipzig at home, putting Dortmund 2 points ahead in the table with only 1 game left to play. Dortmund face Mainz at home. Mainz, who are in a bad run of form, having lost the last 4 games they've played. Dortmund themselves have won 4 of their last 5 games in the league. Bayern are facing FC Köln, a mid-table team. After 8 minutes, Bayern take the lead against Köln. This now means that Dortmund have to win their game, since if Bayern win and Dortmund draw, Bayern will win the league on goal difference. 15 minutes have been played in the Dortmund game and Mainz take the lead through Andreas Hange Olsen. As it stands, Bayern are first in the Bundesliga. And it would seem to continue this way, since in the 19th minute Sebastian Haller missed a penalty for Dortmund, and just 5 minutes later Mainz would score again to pour more salt into the already deep wound of Borussia Dortmund. In the 69th minute, however, Rafael Guerreiro would score for Dortmund, but it was still a 2-1 lead to Mainz, and Bayern were still leading their game. So either Dortmund had to score 2 more goals and win their game, or Bayern would have to concede, and that's exactly what happened. In the 81st minute, Bayern conceded the penalty, which Köln slotted home. This now meant that with 9 minutes to go, Dortmund were champions. But then, a young German kid by the name of Jamal Musiala would have it other ways, as he scored to 2-1 for Bayern in the 89th minute to win them the game and ultimately the league, since Dortmund failed to win against Mainz, only clinching a draw in the 96th minute. And for the 11th time in a row, Bayern are Bundesliga champions. Okay, now that we got the whole backstory out the way, let me rant about this stuff. I genuinely don't think that Dortmund actually want to win the league. How do you draw 3-3 to Stuttgart and 1-1 to Bochum, who both were relegation playoff teams at the time, which, if you don't know, is the 3rd worst team in the league? If they had won either of those games, the league would have been theirs. And I know some people will talk about VAR and yada yada yada, but in the last game against Mainz, Dortmund didn't deserve to win at all. They had so many opportunities to score, but missed the target every single time. All you had to do was to win against a team that has lost 4 out of 4 games in front of your home fans. This seems easy, but it all comes down to the mentality of the players. Dortmund simply don't have the players suited for winning a title. I mean, this is one of Bayern's most dramatic and complicated years, and yet Dortmund still couldn't find a way to win the league. And you know what? I saw a tweet that reads, "No title for Kane. Shit bottling Lisby fuck. No title for Royce. So sad for him. Football owes him a title." And I agree with this. Everyone is so quick to make fun of Tottenham and Kane or even Arsenal for bottling the league, but when it's Royce and Dortmund, it's fine, it's okay, I feel pity. No, that's not how it should be. And you can say that Royce has won different titles like the DFB Pokal, and yeah, okay, but he's also injured all the time and he never even plays. Heck, he didn't even start against Mainz, he actually came off the bench. And that's not me saying that Royce isn't deserving of a league title, I'm just trying to put things into perspective here. Because you can't have it both ways, and I really don't want people to think that I'm hating on Royce, because I'm not. I actually really like the guy and I wish he stayed healthy throughout his whole career. But just because we all want the best for him and for Dortmund shouldn't mean that we can't criticize them. And it's not even the first time that we're seeing this. This is just the latest of the things. Like, they even lost the Champions League final to Bayern in 2013. And ever since then, every single league title has gone to Bayern. Even 2 seasons before that, Bayern also won the league. So, I mean, this is just getting ridiculous now. And Dortmund, they've been so close so many times, but they've just never been able to, just pull through and get that win and get that league title. If you think what Arsenal did is bad, imagine that basically happening for 11 seasons in a row. Like, that's literally what is happening. Like, people want to compare this to Arsenal, but you just cannot compare this to what Arsenal they did. Yes, Arsenal, they were first in the league for the majority of the season, and then they dropped off, drawing to Southampton, West Ham, whatever. But imagine, like, Dortmund, I know that they weren't first in the league for the majority of this season, but they have been before where they've dropped off and where they've lost. Again, it's not about who's on top after 33 games. It's about who's on top for the last game, after the last game has been played. In the Bundesliga, it's 34. In every other league, it's 38. So it's about who's on top after 34 games, not after 33 games. And as we can see today, the team that is on top after 34 games is Bayern and not Dortmund. But what can we all learn from this? Well, if I'm being honest, Dortmund are content with being Bayern's bitch, and they don't care about winning titles. If they did, they wouldn't have sold Lewandowski, Hummels and Götze to Bayern in the first place. Let's also not forget that, again, as I said, they lost the Champions League final to Bayern in 2013. And again, this is not a one-off. Dortmund keep bottling everything, and I'm pretty sure that Maxwell will make a 2-hour-long video about that, which I will look forward to. Either way, I'm just sick and tired of this, and tired of people not dropping the hammer on Dortmund when they literally do it with every other team, but it's all out of pity for Marco Reus. Why are Dortmund not being held to the standards that other teams they are? Just because they play in the Bundesliga maybe? I don't know, maybe just because Bayern are that good? Well, I mean, why are United right now? They're not being held to high standards. Liverpool, they were in the beginning of the season, but, they just like to clown on Liverpool, Chelsea, United, Arsenal, Tottenham. But when it's Dortmund, nah, it's pity. We don't condone any criticism towards Dortmund or Reus. I just find that very, very weird, and I completely agree with what the guy on Twitter he said. But either way, I might have come off a bit mad in this video, which I am, because I just don't get how can you not win this league. Like, how is it you haven't won it for 12 years? How is it possible not to win a league title for 12 years when you consistently finish top 2? I wouldn't even say top 3, because it is literally top 2 in the league, and you consistently battle and battle and battle for the league. Imagine if this City and Liverpool stuff went on for 11 years and Liverpool didn't win a single title. So that's why I'm mad, not because I support Dortmund. I just want to see something different happen in that league. I want to see something else. I'm tired of seeing the same thing over and over and over again, and I'm pretty sure that pretty much every single person are, but it just feels as if Dortmund, they don't care at all. Again, and I might have said it a bit harsh, but I feel like Dortmund are content with being Bayern's second man, being their little brother. I feel like Dortmund are content with that, because if they weren't, they wouldn't have sold all their players to Bayern, and they wouldn't have sold all their players to different clubs. It is kind of like a stepping stone club, really, Dortmund. Like, look at Sancho, look at Pulisic. I know Pulisic hasn't been that great after his move to Chelsea, and neither has Sancho really, but they were very, very good at Dortmund, and Dortmund, they just sold them. And they're also planning on doing the same with Jude Bellingham. What if you for once tried, at least just try to keep your players and not sell every single one of them? Maybe that would transition into winning trophies. I mean, that's just my guess. I don't know. I'm not a coach, but maybe try out something different. When you've tried this strategy for 11 years, just selling, maybe try to keep a hold of some of your players, and maybe you'll actually win a title or two. But yeah, I'm done ranting about this stuff. If you like this video, make sure to drop a like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the very next video.